And as always, reviews and comments are welcome via social media. Look for us on Facebook and on Twitter. Join us on TV. Drop your comments. We'll be glad to share your thoughts to the rest of the world. Remember to add the hashtag to your tweet, The Pulse. We are interactive here on the show. And we begin with arguably the biggest story today. We have been waiting for the clarification from the Electoral Commission on how the process would go in deleting these names and how they will be re-registered. Well, the information we're getting today is that on Monday, July 18th, that process will begin. That chance for those whose names have been deleted from the electoral roll will have that opportunity to go and have themselves re-registered with the appropriate means of registration. Now, this forms part of the modalities for cleaning the electoral roll ahead of the November polls. We brought you excerpts of what happened today at that news conference by the Electoral Commission today. We brought you live coverage of that story today, but we'll surely bring you details from the press conference today by the EC, because a number of questions are niggling. First, for the EC and the date they are given, July 18, per the last calendar schedules, was supposed to have been the same date when the exhibition process should have begun. And so, will these two be run concurrently? How different will it be? Also, in the face of the ruling that was given by the Supreme Court about a week ago. In fact, well, Raymond Akot today spent some time at this news conference by the Electoral Commission. He joins me now in the studio with the details to take us through exactly what the explanation is on what the process will be. And for many who are watching who know that their names have been deleted, what they should be doing on Monday, July 18. Raymond, good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us here on the program.
Good afternoon.
So today, the EC explained what the modalities would be. Walk us through it. What happens for those individuals whose names have been deleted?
So they would first and foremost get to know the names on Friday. So the list out there at the various district offices of the Electoral Commission, and every single district assembly also get a copy of this particular list. Also, in the major dailies, they'll publish it. Beyond the publication, so first you identify your name, then you go for the re-registration. If you have an alternative ID that is within the acceptor scope, that is the passport, the driver's licenses, and also if you also have a previous ID, voter's ID, and not the one you used, you got through the NHIS registration, then you can use that particular one too. So all of these are guarantors. Two people, you need to support your registration. So if you get these people, the next thing you do is now go to the centers. The centers are where you did your registration. First, where you did your earlier registration. So you go to the same center, because that's the same center they are doing the exhibition. So they would actually parallel to the exhibition exercise that will be ongoing, will be the registration exercise.
So clarity. So what it means is that for the process to re-register these individuals whose names have been deleted, that process will run as well as the exhibition exercise.
Very good. At the same venue, so that for people who want to even go and check first and foremost that their names are on the list and they don't know whether they are on the NHIS list or not, they can do the exhibition, what they call it, they're checking the exhibition list, then proceed to go and do registration. So that is the difference there. The more reason why they put them together, so that people can do the same thing and get clarification and proceed with the other one.
Okay, but you see, the indication you've given, and before we go through the entire process, this comes to mind readily, because I remember when the Supreme Court gave the clarity on this matter, they indicated that go ahead with these orders first and foremost before any other electoral process is carried through. So how then does that fly when they have to delete, re-register before any other electoral process happens?
The Electoral Commission said the Supreme Court actually told them that CI 91 gives you specific responsibilities. Don't worry, you can do our work before the CI 91's responsibilities. But the Commission believes there's nothing wrong with doing them concurrently, especially when the most important directive on deletion, which was what the petitioner stressed, has been carried out. So far as we've deleted the names, the modalities for the re-registration can run alongside the exhibition. Indeed, it makes a lot of sense to the commission because some people would never get to know, even through the modes that they have identified, the district assemblies and also through the newspapers. So when they try and go and check their names in the register, immediately they can identify they are not on the list. Then they can do the registration again.
Okay, so now that we know what the process will be, the exhibition and the re-registration happening at the same time, what were some of the issues that were raised today at that news conference? Because I can imagine that already this will bring some reactions from the political parties and the election observers.
Okay, so first and foremost, the concern to do with how people can identify the separate duties and respond to them individually. So if I go today and I'm looking out to actually check my name and my name is not in the register, how do I know it's not in there because I failed to register with the right card? That in this case was the NHIS card. How do I know that I am qualified to re-register? So that's some of the concerns raised. And the EC responded quickly by saying, we'll provide a list. So that list that we are telling you about will also be at the registration center. So for your center, where you know you vote and you did the registration, there will be a list that details this particular gentleman and that other lady are supposed to be on the exclusion list because they registered with the wrong ID. Then you can proceed to do so. If there's another problem, which has to do with your own registration and difficulties, you can file another form for rectification of that problem, and that will take another time to remedy. The only problem that can be remedied now are the ones that are related to the, what they call it, the specific NHI card.
Okay. Now, I also remember, and we keep referring to that ruling because that's the basis for which this entire process is happening, the deletion and re-registration. The clarity given was that beyond the list of the 56,000, anyone else also found in the register who actually registered with the NHIS card should also be deleted. How does this arrangement take care of that?
Okay, so the commission, I asked that question consistently. The commission's main answer was that that's why we're giving people enough time to search and come. The 10 days should take care of that. But after the 10 days, if you identify fresh names that should be deleted, present the evidence to us. When we get to the bridge, we'll cross it. In fact, when they gave me the details, what they are really saying is that when we get fresh evidence that you, Francis Aban, did use a national health insurance card,
which I did not,
at this particular polling station for the registration, all that they require of me, who is making the claim, is to produce evidence that yes, you didn't use any other form of identification in case your name is not on the list. So if they rule out all the other forms of identification which can be used for registration, then they can now agree that you did use the NHIS card. Then they set up a new modality for dealing with your particular case. In fact, what I'm told is that they may use the existing procedure of grievance and complaints resolution to deal with this matter, i.e., you complain at the point of registration or to the electoral officer in the district. The man carries the concern to a judge in that particular district who can rule that indeed you should be deleted from the register. Then they proceed with the normal process and do the deletion, ask you to come and register if you have another one. This is not envisaged in the current registration process, which they have outlined. The current one is to take care of the 56,000 and more, and also if you are lucky enough to have identified anybody within the period we are talking about, you'll be put on that list.
Okay, now one other thing I need to point out, Raymond, is this. With the notice they've given of the period for which the re-registration will be done, some say that the time frame is pretty short and that it will not give everyone the opportunity, if you are in the most remotest area in this country, to do this. How is that taken care of?
They gave the example that even for the 2012 actual registration across the country, no polling station had more than 10 days. So when they wanted to put together the entire register for the polling station, it took them 10 days to do so. They are convinced that across the country, 56,000 can and should be registered within that particular period. In fact, the concerns we raised was, now this is Friday that you're putting out the list. How will people be able to cross-check and get to know the details before they move in to, let's say, I'm in Accra. I get to know that I registered in my hometown and I needed to cross-check that and maybe go back and do the re-registration. How am I supposed to go and do all of that within the next week when I do not have enough time to go through my internal processes to even challenge whether indeed I am worthy of being put on that exclusion list? But they said they have considered the numbers involved. They have considered the timing used for that. And more importantly, we have a November or December deadline to meet. And to them, that supersedes this particular exercise now. So every other thing that would delay the November elections will not be countenance. But 10 days is enough.
Okay, Raymond, I will let you pause for a moment. Let's hear from the Director of Elections of the Electoral Commission, Samuel Tetteh, raising the concerns and explaining what the procedure would be from Monday, July 18.
Supreme Court order on 5th July 2016, the Commission came out with the following modalities. As a first step, the list of all NHIS card registrants presented to the Supreme Court has been deleted from the provisional voters register. And as such persons will be given the opportunity to re-register at the district offices of the Electoral Commission in areas where they registered. In areas where they registered. This is the first step that the Commission has taken, and it has been done. Secondly, any other NHIS card registrant who is found apart from the list which was presented to the Supreme Court will also be deleted, because we are yet to get those ones. But the ones that we are sure of that we have done that. Thirdly, we are also expecting that anybody who knows any NHIS card registrant should volunteer such information to the Commission for the name to be deleted from the provisional voters register. Once we finished with the deletion of the names as ordered by the Supreme Court, the second issue to deal with is to re-register all those persons involved. And the modalities that the Commission has actually put in place.
Right, so that's the Director of Elections of the Electoral Commission, Samuel Tetteh, speaking today at that news conference, explaining what the modalities would be for the re-registration exercise. Raymond, what else came up today at this news conference? Anything else that was discussed?
So there was also the assurance from the Commission that what they've put in place now is not anything that runs contrary to, one, the Supreme Court's directive, two, the current calendar they have for the elections. So people were worried about how this is going to run, especially when you have already put out the calendar. They said it is the more reason why they run it alongside that particular calendar, so that at the end of the day, they'll be able to provide, after the exhibition exercise, the provisional voters register. Then, some months before the election, they'll provide a final voters register.
Okay, Raymond, I'll come back and ask about what the plan will be in providing the provisional register to the political parties in the run-up to the elections. But stay with us for just a moment, because we're joined on the line now by the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mr. George Lawson. Thank you, sir, for joining us here on the program. Today, the EC has clearly spelled out its modalities in re-registering the names of individuals who were deleted from the voters register for using the NHIS cards for your party, monitoring the process. Are you satisfied with the modalities?
Thank you very much. I think there's a directive or an order from the highest court in the land or the land. So it's part of the compliance. So if they've done it, yes, they say they should do it immediately. Do immediately if realize it, they have. So we have to commend them for complying quickly or promptly to the Supreme Court orders or directives.
How about the other concerns to do with the process? How short the notice is and the time being given to the individuals whose names have been deleted from the register?
This is as a result of a directive or an order from the Supreme Court or by the Supreme Court. So they are complying. So in complying, they say you should immediately. So they are. If they do not, people complain. And I think we need to go over that. Once it's finished, we move on and go according to the calendar that the EC has for us for the year.
There are some who've raised concerns about the exhibition exercise and the re-registration being done concurrently, considering that the Supreme Court was clear that this exercise should be done before any other electoral process continues. Does your party find this problematic, or you think this is the right way to go?
I find that is the right way the Electoral Commission says it should be done. And you know, the Supreme Court said they will not, they don't have the power, or they don't have, is it the power, whatever, to tell the Electoral Commission how to run its affairs or go about its affairs. So if the Electoral Commission, in their own wisdom, think they can do it concurrently, I think that's the furthest. The most important, or the bottom line, is they have complied to the Supreme Court order or directive. That's the most important thing.
Okay, so for your party, what's your plan in being vigilant with this process to ensure that it's free and fair, and all individuals whose names were deleted would have a fair opportunity to get re-registered?
Bear in mind that during the exhibition, we'll have polling agents. Our agents would have to ensure that the right people, or people who are registered according to the laws or existing laws of this country.
All right. Mr. Lawson, thank you for joining us this afternoon on the program, sharing his thoughts with us on the decision taken by the EC on the modalities in re-registering the individuals whose names were deleted from the voters register. 56,000, a little over 56,000 names have been deleted from the register. Let me come back to the studios and speak to Raymond to wrap up this conversation and see if we can get the reactions also of the other political parties as the EC has made the announcement. We also know that in Parliament today, the EC Chair, Charlotte Osei, has been busy meeting the Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs to iron out the change of date from December 7 to November 7, that amendment to the Constitution. We'll get to that in just a moment. But Raymond, you were explaining to us the other elements for the EC in carrying out its calendar for the year.
Yes, the Electoral Commission has actually made it clear that what is required now, because this particular new registrants will have to display it again, and the exhibition period will have to capture this particular new registrants. The more reason why, when they display 3 registers from the 2nd to the 5th and also up to the 7th, when the entire exhibition exercise in August will end. So first, the very groupings that are supposed to go to normal exhibition is starting from Monday till the 7th. The other grouping that will be registered for Monday under the NHIS system will also have their exhibition being done from the 2nd to the 5th. So when they run it, then they'll put together these registers. From the 5th to the 7th, you will have both registers at every center, so that we know those who registered not only with the NHIS one and also with the main register, but the third one is that they are going to separate first register for 2012 and 2014 and put them there all together too. So every single register, and this is to make sure that every other complaint, dead people, minors, can be made at this point in time. Then they carry on with the deletions. Then when there is time for another reclusion, just before they finish with the final voters register, then we can do with it.
But with what you've just explained, the process sounds pretty elaborate and quite a lot of work to do within that period. You say 3 days will be the time given for those who re-registered to have their names checked in the register. Will that be enough time to handle all of them?
So the Commission responded to that question by saying 56,000 is a small number. 56,000, at least in their own understanding, a day will be enough to check these names. When they compare it to the bigger register of 40 million people, it will be enough to check that number.
Okay, so for this 56,000, the EC say that throughout this process, if, say, 1,000 of them do not make it to come and re-register, what happens to them? They cannot vote in the elections?
No, they cannot vote in the elections. Yeah, that to them is very clear. And they're giving ample time for every person to come and do so. And they respond to that by saying that in the main system for giving you opportunity to register in the first place, it was 10 days. So that particular period of time is good enough for you to check, and if you saw your name in the dailies or at your district assembly and you failed still to go and get yourself re-registered, then it wouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Thank you, Raymond Akwa. He covered the news conference for us today of the Electoral Commission on the modalities clearly spelled out for cleaning the voters register, especially for those whose names were deleted yesterday. Some 56,000 of them were deleted. The process has clearly been spelled out. It is the expectation that by this Friday, that list will be made public. So each and every individual who used the NHIS card to register in the last run-up to the elections would have the opportunity to go back, look through that list. If you see your name in there, you will be given that opportunity from next week, Monday, to go and have yourself re-registered so you can make it in time for the exhibition, which will also be done concurrently so you can vote in this year's election. We'll go for a quick break. When we'll come back, I hope by then we'll be able to get some reactions from the other political parties and also from election observers on this entire process that is about to unfold from next week. Stay with us. You're welcome back to the Pulse on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. And yes, electricity is still becoming a big issue in the country today because the worsening power crisis has begun to bite a bit more harder at some businesses in the capital, Accra, and also in Takoradi. Some businesses here in Accra are beginning to lay off workers again with plans to close down if the situation persists. Currently, more than 400 megawatts of power is being shed. This means that most parts of Accra, Kumasi, and Takoradi will suffer power outages. The situation seems to have been worsened also by the lack of a timetable to help consumers and businesses plan their lives with respect to the outages. The acting Power Minister, Setekwe, had responded to calls for a timetable to be released with an assurance that the situation will ease by next week.
The emergency power plan that was put in place was up to the level that was expected to stabilize the situation until you had strikes, blowups of pipelines, in affecting the West Africa gas pipeline supply. The recent incident that affected the FPSO, which affected gas supply. Some of these, even in the agreement for the West Africa, gas pipeline, they call force majeure, which means that the company can declare force majeure. We have to plan for that now, and that's what we are doing. Okay. But first of all, let me say that the emergency power supply, was so much that it affected our plan for Sankofa. We had expected to bring some independent power producers on board the Sankofa when it came on stream in 2018, because that's going to be the largest gas supply. Why has it affected it? There was no intermediate, need to increase, the companies that could give us power for the car power to, other, such that their presence now is affecting the projected shortfall that was, for Sankofa going forward. So I think that we are on course to utilizing our own gas to resolve what you would say, systemic challenges that we face. Akosomo, dam, which brought in Bui. The Bui itself is, also affected by the levels. And then the disruptions in West Africa gas pipeline supply, that plan is on course. But in the course of doing this, you faced new challenges, which was the FPSO, incident. And then just when the gas supply was, restored, you had, the disruptions. So what do? This is where you move into dual energy processing policy and say, if you are an IPP and you are coming, don't come in with only gas, or LCO, that is but come in with dual fuel, use so that you can switch. Okay. This is one of the ways in which we have to. Another way is, and we are on course, we just sent a letter to the World Bank showing our plan under the partial risk guarantee for Sankofa. We know that the third FPSO is under construction to make sure that come that time, there will be no failures. So your ability, to switch from gas, to light crude, and then from light crude to gas is going to be very critical. Okay. And this is where, BOST and others come in. Because your ability to store, say, light crude, your ability to store gas as you go forward, to fall on them in such emergencies. So we have to, and that's what we are doing. I cited, in the case of, petroleum prices, we don't see queues again, but we can improve that by having strategic stock. I'm saying that, we are perpetually not going to issue a timetable. They are saying that there's an emergency. I think what, as I said, was let's manage emergencies and distinguish them from protracted problems.
So when will this emergency
end? The crude supplies, as I said. Our crude is being delivered now to turn into light, to help Asogri and,
So when is it expected?
Asogri is gas, to help VRA in particular. It's progressive. It's, as I said, deliveries are being made as we speak. I take your point. There is a load management, committee. I take your point that it will be useful, to give a certain duration for emergencies. How long does it take to fix a pipeline that is blown, as an emergency? And you remember, I remember very well that, when we also, were held to strict, accountability for timelines, it makes it very difficult.
So that's the acting Power Minister, Seth Terkper, yesterday explaining what the challenge was and what's being done to fix the problem. But today, businesses have indicated that it's becoming increasingly difficult for them to survive with no timetable and also the erratic power supply that is coming in. Jennifer Ikrama, my colleague, has been to the Accra New Town today to speak to some printing press owners to understand how the erratic power supply is affecting their businesses.
For decades, Accra New Town has been the hub of printing presses in the capital city. And normally around this time, the suburb is buzzing with the sound of printing presses working feverishly to prepare their products for customers. But today, the suburb is quiet. And it's because of the recent power outages. Joy News went around to speak to several owners of printing presses to find out how they are coping with the power outages and how it's affecting their businesses.
Today light out, tomorrow light on. It's affecting our business that because nowadays maybe you have planned that you are coming to work early in the morning. Before you come, there's light out.
Some of the jobs that we take for printing, sometimes they don't probably come in early. So we will need the power either to do night for the person or to run the job late in the night. But once the power is off, then probably you are not able to deliver.
Even today too, we are having a problem. The phase is not all that good. We have only one phase. The power here, all the extension here are not working properly for it.
Power is affecting us more than first self. Because at the first we know that today it will be go off, so that we will prepare and come night. But right now, if we are working, you don't know anything, then go off.
Very well, it have affected us. You can see, as you came, we are sitting down. Because there is no light sometimes, people don't depend on those who don't have plants. They will just take their job to another place. So if the light is off, every business is down.
The recent power outages have proven to be a bigger challenge than the owners anticipated, with them having to make difficult decisions to adjust.
There's no adjustment. The only thing you have to do is to sack all the workers you have so that you can afford to pay the rest of them. That's the only thing you can do.
And it's creating a lot of problems. I mean, those who have a power out, that they have a power generator or something like that, that are the people that are moving forward. But for us that we cannot get some place even safe to buy a generator or something like that, it's moving our business down.
Just that we don't also have prior notification that the light will go off. So by the time you realize it's gone off. But then if you are probably getting information of how the lights will be going off either by some time schedule or something, then you know that yes, definitely within this period of time you need to schedule your time well and work within.
We are having a plant over there, by the fuel that we are buying is eating a lot of money from here. So even today we are finding a problem to get money to buy the fuel, and that's a big problem that we are facing over here.
Maybe some people, it will not affect them. Maybe they will come in the night. But as for me, it will not help.
You try to adjust. If the light come in the evening, you come and work, or if you have light in the daytime, you come and work. But because the customers don't have time to wait for you, that is the problem that we are facing. So they have to make sure that the light will be on so that we to have something to do.
According to the Power Ministry, the erratic supply will be resolved by next week. But until then, the presses lie silent.
Well, you can get interactive with us and send us a message. What's your Dumsor situation today? You can drop your comment on our Facebook page. Look for us at Joy News on TV. On Twitter as well, at Joy News on TV. Drop the hashtag The Pulse. We'll be glad to share your thoughts with the rest of the world. Now, the newly inducted president of the Ghana Consulting Engineering Association, Albert Ojiri, is calling for fairness in the award of government contracts. Speaking on the sidelines of an inauguration ceremony for newly elected executives of the association, Mr. Ojiri said the existing system is one that does not promote competition, hence the need for a very significant shift. Speaking on the destruction of virgin lands due to construction activities, Mr. Ojiri blamed the act for the perennial flooding situation in several parts of the country.
When we do sole sourcing, it is only to be done as an exception, depending on the circumstances, and the circumstances must justify the need for sole sourcing. Maybe there is an issue that has cropped up due to a national disaster or something. We need somebody to do something very fast, or it is a very specialist area. You know, even if you open it to the whole world, you get just a few consultants, or if it's contracting contractors. Now that are the conditions under which sole sourcing, is used, but not in the general case. Generally it should be competitive. Now, if that is done, then we all compete on a fair ground and honest basis. Let me state it very clearly. It's up to us to decide whether it is a national competitive bidding or international competitive bidding. So if for some projects it is very clear that we lack the capacity locally, then you go international. So you have to look at every project and its demands. But there are other issues. Some have to deal with policy and so on. Because we all know how we are building properties in this country. Before the floods became more serious, the rains were heavier than now. They were more frequent than now. But now the floods are heavier and more serious than previously. Why? Because we have turned the land use completely over. Because previously, before Accra was as developed as this, there was a lot of virgin grounds. When it rains, the water soaks into the ground. Now we have developed them. People have houses where they have paved their compounds. Some have even used tiles to pave their compounds. So the water that falls on properties all have to run out. And we have to collect them and channel them into the sea. Obviously, that is leading to increasing flooding.
Thank you.
Right, so that's for sole sourcing and the concerns being raised there. Still ahead in this bulletin, we'll look at other issues in politics. We know that in less than 4 months, we're heading to the polls to elect presidential and parliamentary candidates. But the big question is, where are those policy proposals which will inform the decisions we take in this year? I'm talking about the manifestos. Where are they with less than 4 months to go? What is informing the discussions these days? Are we still looking at empty promises or a proposal to scrutinize? Details of that and more after the break. Stay with us. You're welcome back to the Pulse on the Joy News channel on Multi TV, and we can now talk some politics because we're just less than 4 months to go for the 2016 elections. As the political parties step up their campaigns, concerns are actually going up about the lack of manifestos in the country. Think tank Strategic Thinkers Network is demanding the immediate publication of the manifestos. They believe it's unfair to Ghanaians to campaign without such policy statements. In the studio joining us today is Ni Tete Tete, the executive member of Stranek, the think tank that's pushing for the immediate release of manifestos of these political parties. Let's interrogate this demand that they are making today. Thank you, sir, for joining us in the studio. We know the none of the parties are yet to give us their full manifestos on what they intend to do for us, but we've heard them already indicate that, especially for the NDC, they've said it will come out sometime later this month. Okay. The NPP says it will also come out before the elections. Why is it so important for Stronach that we have the manifestos immediately?
Well, I think that as a think tank that focuses on good governance, political and economic issues in the country, we think that Ghanaians ought to have it early to be able to digest and understand what each political party has to offer to them, and then in order to make wise and good decisions so far as this country is concerned and so far as their welfare is concerned. And so we thought it wise as a think tank to give it a clarion call to all political parties to expedite action so far as the release of manifestos is concerned, because that is one of the things which is pivotal so far as decision making of the good people of Ghana is concerned.
But are you sure manifestos are a big deal in Ghana? Because some will say, look, the population we have, more than 50% of them are not illiterate, which means that more often than not, these political parties actually go and speak to them and deliver their message of what they intend to do for them. They communicate their policy statements to them, verbally, not giving them the documents and the policy statements. So, how important have manifestos even been in our elections in the first place?
I think that is very important. Aside the politician talking about what he or she would offer, the book is more serves like as a document which will be guided, which Ghanaians use as a guide so far as the decision making of voting for a particular party is concerned. Because so what the politician does is to only explain what he would do, but in details contains is what is stipulated in their manifesto. And I sincerely think that if it was early, if the manifestos was released by the political party was released early, you would realize that Ghanaians could take their time and go step by step and get to see. Definitely, of course, we have 50% of some people who don't read, no problem. But the point is that the other 50%, they are also important in decision making and deciding which political party they would vote for. Mind you, even those so-called 50% people we are talking about that they don't read, they even get advice from the people who know how to read and also understand the issues. Because you see your father or your mother or your brother or sister or a relative who doesn't really understand the issues, who asks you, what do you think about this political party? You would explain per what you have read in details so far the manifesto is concerned in order to influence his or her decision.
Okay,
so basically
now,
it's important.
Once you say that it's important, it influences decision making, I need to ask, I'm sure you say this with a certain background of past elections and how pivotal these manifestos were. Can you take me through even one or two examples of a manifesto promise that was key in any election?
Well, I think that in 2012, right, even though there was delay in the release of manifesto by political parties, they gave reasons. But aside that, you would realize that when one political party spoke about doing some free SHS, right? One political party spoke about free SHS. One political party spoke about progressively free SHS. But in the long run, what was it? As of now, the incumbents, they have a manifesto which was stated in it. It states that progressively free, at least we can see, not fully, but we can see to some extent that at least per what they've stated so far as free SHS is concerned.
Yes.
So far as free SHS is concerned, you would realize that they are having some level of accomplishments. And so I think that, well, it is also important. I think that it is also important so far as manifesto is concerned. That is what would influence the decision of the good people of Ghana this year, right? As to whether the incumbents, per what they stated in the manifesto so far as free SHS is concerned, what they say progressively free SHS, they would decide whether indeed government has really.
Will that not be pointing to the past manifesto and analyzing rather than looking to the new one, which will be outdoored maybe in a few weeks' time?
Yeah, but well, no problem. You would look at what the past manifesto was, what the government has done, or what the incumbent party has done, and then you would now say, okay, fine, what do you now want to offer again? But already, to some extent, you would have made up your mind as a Ghanaian that, well, they brought this particular thing, they've done it to some extent, or they have done it. And so when they say they want to do another one, it will instill some level of trust as a Ghanaian that, of course, if they've done it previously about something, then this particular one that they say they will do it's possible for them to do it.
Is it your understanding that if we don't get the manifestos early enough, Ghanaians will not be taking the right decision? Because indeed, some say that I'll look at my circumstance, what I've seen done for me in the past 4 years, look at what the others are offering on the campaign platforms, and then take a decision. How different will that be from a policy document?
Well, the difference will be that there will be enough time to make to juxtapose one political party to the other political party in order to make some particular decision. We'll find there will be a last minute of a politician or a political party making that, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that, and we'll do that. However, when a document, even though if it comes now, right, it will be late, but it will put a little bit of stress on a Ghanaian in making a decision. But in the long run, it is better when the manifesto is released earlier, because they will have time, take their time, go step by step, and get to see what indeed you want to do. And so it won't be that, well, you stated that you do this, you did not state you will do this, and then because of your late manifesto release, they will be assuming maybe some razzmatazz from the other particular party.
But sorry, Mr. Tete. Yeah. I mean, I look at the political history we have in this country. Yeah. People actually don't vote because of the issues and the promises. Mm-hmm. If you look at the trajectory from 1992 up until this minute, it's been largely split between two political parties. The floating voters, it will amaze you the kind of things that sway their votes. Who is more appealing and who is not? Yeah. Who has a more eye-catching proposal than the other? But how does that fall into the urgent need? And you say it's an urgent call. How serious should we take it?
That notwithstanding about the fact that they look at other issues, they look at other things that will influence their decision making so far as voting is concerned. We cannot rule out the fact that there's also some population of Ghanaians who vote based on issues. And you can bear with me that Ghanaians are becoming very discerning. What was happening those times will not necessarily happen this time. They will look at what
makes you so sure?
No, well, I believe that you would if you try to observe, you realize that, well, fine, some people, there's some population now that would make decisions based on the issues, not based on other things that used to be previously. Okay. And so basically, I think that it is here and here, not necessarily that just one-sided where it's all about some personality or your handsomeness or something like that. But this time, you just realize that Ghanaians also vote based on issues.
The issues. Yeah. That's fine. So now that you're asking for the manifesto to be released immediately, if that does not happen,
it's a clarion call.
Yes, it's a clarion call. I do understand. Yes. So if that does not happen, then what?
Well, we are just a think tank policy advocacy platform. We only want to advocate and also do more as like a follow-up or make a clarion call. And so it will just be not fair to Ghanaians to take their time and read every single sector or page of the manifesto. But I think that that's the extent we can go. Okay. We can only do a follow-up, a clarion call.
So for your think tank, Stranek, yes, have you done some analysis of the manifesto of the ruling of the governing party and their performance?
Well, we are yet to do that, but we think that we'll do that and bring that out.
But we just have less than 4 months to go for the elections.
Yes, that's also important.
Why haven't you considered that at all?
Well, no, we have considered that, but at the moment, our focus was a delay of manifesto by various political parties, and so after that, definitely you would get to hear of us on the assessment of the incumbents and so far as in relation with their manifesto and how it has affected Ghanaians. Already, we have done some research or survey on the economic and social needs of Ghanaians and how it has benefited them.
What did you find in this research?
We realized that Ghanaians are optimistic that it will only get better for them. At least they have just got to realize that the incumbent is doing a gradual process of something, and so they are only optimistic that it will get better for them. Even in as much as things are somehow difficult, they are just optimistic that it will get better. And they see it as the turbulent times or challenges that they face. So, but in details, we'll do that after this particular release.
When was this research done?
That was done, that's the early part of this year.
Okay.
Which we...
How many people did you sample?
That was, we did the half of the, I think we did 10% of the whole population. Yes, I think 10% of the whole population in all regions, and then we realized that we
that's what, some 2.5 million.
Yes, we did that, and so we used that one to test the pulse of Ghanaians. But basically, we intended that we would do a details of it as soon as.
So 2.5 you did. How many of these individuals were in this research saying that things are much more optimistic despite of the challenges?
Well, I think that I would not have the statistics off head, but it was not more than 50. It was not less than 50. But the point was that they were just optimistic. Even though they accepted that, well, they have been through some turbulent challenges, they sincerely think that, well, gradually they will get to where they ought or they deserve to be. And so basically that's what we did. But as I said, we'll do more details of it as soon as our clarion call is heeded to. There's a clarion call and a follow-up.
Okay, so this research you did covered from which period to which period?
It covered from the period in which the government came to power, right? How Ghanaians felt and where they were.
So 2013?
Yes.
Up until now?
Yes.
And within that period, you sent questionnaires around. How did you do this research?
No, well, we had, of course, we had people who we dispersed around to do the necessary questionnaires, and then we scrutinized it and got to realize and did unnecessary statistics here and there and got to see that particular percentage. So, and we just realized that, well, they have accepted that where they were, but they are only just optimistic that, of course, their economic and their basic needs would be is getting better. They're only just optimistic about the further to get better for them.
All right. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. Mr. Tete is an executive member of STRANEC, a think tank asking for the immediate release of manifestos of all political parties as we look ahead to the 2016 elections in the country today. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Thank you. Right then. So let's now move to the central region where some residents of Mankasim, mostly women, earlier today embarked on a demonstration against the Member of Parliament for Asin Central, Kennedy Agyapong, over his alleged unsavory comments about the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Madam Charlotte Osei. The women are petitioning the Women's Caucus in Parliament to call the Asin Central MP to order. Here are some sights and sounds from the demonstration.
Today we are very angry, in fact angry with Honorable Kennedy Agyapong for what he said against the EC boss. You know, most of us women look up to this woman who is far higher. And if you say something like that he went to sleep with one or two people, that was why she got that position, then it's very wrong. You know, most of our children and all that look up to this woman. Why she has gotten to, each of us is trying to aspire to that area. Does it mean that when we get there, at the end of the day, somebody will tell us that it's because we slept with one or two women, that was why we got there? The point is, when you look at the CV of this woman, you realize that she went to one university here and two abroad, and each of the universities, you realize that she gained an award of excellence in each of the universities. So I don't know if Honorable Kennedy Agyapong has gone to this CV of this woman to go and check, because she is an excellent woman. And what we want now is for him to come and apologize. Not to only Mrs. Charlotte Osei, but to all women, because what he said, it has gone against all women. This is non-partisan. It's the whole Ghana, the women in Ghana. We are talking that we don't like what he said because now he has degraded womanhood. Does it mean we cannot aspire to go there anymore because of some of these utterances?
There are suggestions that you should take him to court. Why are you not taking him to court?
You know, we want everything to be gradual. From one stage, we move to the other. Now we are having a peaceful demonstration, trying to call on authorities that are in charge to deal with him. If they fail, then the other option that we have is to move to the next stage. So definitely, if all persuasion fails, then what do we do? Force is applied. So I believe we'll get there.
Interesting song they play there as they demonstrate on this issue. Mr. Kede having some mileage there. But this will be the second time in 2 days that a demonstration has been held. The last one was held yesterday here in Accra. Women asking for the Central MP, Kennedy Agyapong, to retract and apologize for the comments he made against the chair of the Electoral Commission, Charlotte Osei. Let's see if all of these demonstrations will result in the man coming out to apologize or not. After the break, we'll bring you that story of how the bus rapid transport system could come in and help to change your decision about whether or not you move your car often or not in the capital. Details after the break. Stay with us. You're welcome back to the Pulse on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. Now, there are some developments happening today that I need to bring to your attention at this point. Well, the Convention People's Party's Youth League of today followed up on the petition they sent to the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAJ, that petition on the gifts given to the president by a Burkinabe contractor. We already know that SHRAJ has begun their own investigations to establish whether or not there is basis for a conflict of interest situation in this matter. Well, my colleague Joseph Akable has just returned from SHRAJ offices where the CPP Youth League have been to inquire about their petition and get an update on how the investigations are going. He joins me now in the studio. Joseph, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
You just returned from SHRAJ. For the CPP Youth League, do we know, first of all, what has informed their decision to follow up on this petition?
What Francis, first and foremost, a bit of background to this particular issue. Now, on June 20, the Youth League filed a petition. Now, they were raising questions with regards to the president's gift. That's the fourth gift that we all know the president received from the Burkinabe contractor. Now, they wanted to find out whether they wanted SHRAJ to establish whether there was a conflict of interest with regards to the president's receipt of the gift and the subsequent contracts that the gentleman won in the country. Now, they are saying that they are hearing from the media reportage that the president was served with a copy of the petition earlier this month, and aside that too, they understand that he has been given a 10-day ultimatum to respond to those claims that they are making in their petition. So the team led by Jason Tutu, who is the head of communication for the CPP Youth League, together with suspended General Secretary of the party, Niama Komfra, paid a visit to SHRAJ to find out whether what they are picking up in the media is indeed the case, and as to whether how far the petition has gone with regards to the investigation of SHRAJ.
So when they went there today, who did they meet and what response did they get?
First and foremost, they interacted with the registrar of SHRAJ. He's the chief registrar, Lawrence Bentum. Now, when they interacted with him, they were not satisfied with the responses that was coming in because he wasn't telling them the specifics that they wanted. That's according to the communication head. He wanted to find out exactly when the president was served, whether he has been given timelines to respond to that. So when they were not satisfied with that response, they had to go in and interact with the acting commissioner for SHRAJ in the person of Richard Kwesen. Now, when he came in, he maintained similar position, just like that with the chief registrar they interacted with. He's saying that they should be a bit patient and that this issue was one of national interest. It was one issue that they cannot handle just like any normal investigation. So he suggested to them that they should hold on a bit and that the commission was already preparing a letter addressed to them to find out certain information with regards to the substantive petition itself. So they expect that to come from them. So I also interacted with the suspended General Secretary. You recall,
we'll have that in just a moment, Joseph. But still staying on the inquiry they were making today, the commission. What questions did they ask the SHRAJ registrar for which they wanted a certain kind of response?
First and foremost, in terms of the state of investigation, how far investigation has gone. And the point he kept making is the fact that everything is on course, and you know that the kind of responses that naturally didn't sit well with the CPP Youth League, because they are saying that they have the opinion that once they have brought a petition requesting for specifics, they expect that at least, because it was sent in on June 20, and from June 20 till now they've not heard anything from SHRAJ.
That is almost a month here.
Almost a month. They've not heard anything from SHRAJ. The only information they've picked up from me is from media reportage to the effect that the president has been served with a copy of their petition and they're expecting a response from the president. So they wanted to find out specifics.
So for Mr. Komfra, who went with the CPP Youth League today to SHRAJ, what was his concern here? Yes, indeed, he had spoken on this matter, but why follow them today?
He's saying that he is a concerned Ghanaian, like he rightly put it, and he adds that this matter is of interest to him, and he believes that SHRAJ must execute its mandate of seeking to ensure that there is justice, there is no corruption, there's zero corruption. That was actually what he said. There was zero corruption in the society. So he came together to lend a support to the Youth League.
Okay, we can hear from him now.
Oh, I think that there were a lot of missing information, but the acting director sought to allay fears and asked us to have confidence in SHRAJ. You know, as I came as a member of the public to support the CP Youth League in what they are seeking to do in all our interests, because SHRAJ says that they have a zero tolerance policy for corruption. They say that anybody should report issues of conflict of interest, alleged suspected corruption, misappropriation of public funds, breaches of oaths of public office, breaches of code of conduct by public officers, non-declaration of assets. So this is the place to come. The actions of the Youth League of the CPP, I think many young people in the country have applauded it, and many young people are supporting it, because corruption and conflict of interest is the bane of youth advancement in this country. So I came to see how far our petition has gone, and initially we were not getting formal answers, but the acting director has confirmed that the petition has been forwarded to the president, and they are hoping to hear within 10 days. We were not able to find out what the next step is, and I think you as the media need to ask SHRAJ what the next step is when the petition goes to the respondent and the respondent replies. What then happens? Is the respondent going to be called in for questioning, written submission? What happens? So we've got some answers, but I have confidence that SHRAJ will do what they need to do. Indeed, this is a test of the institution. We all want strong public institutions. International bodies say that we should have strong public institutions, and this is a test as to how strong our institutions are, and I hope SHRAJ will live up to expectation.
Now, in terms of this fight by the Youth League, it's one issue, and you as an interested party, is one issue that we understand that is, according to party communicators, has led to your suspension, and subsequently we also know for a fact, due to our interaction with you earlier today, that you've notified the party about certain disagreements that you have with regards to the process leading to your suspension. Is this continuous fight and this support you are lending to the Youth League, is it not just a reinforcement of the earlier position of the party that you are still...
I think that with regard to my suspension, I've received the letter and I've responded in a very robust legal way. Due process has not been followed, and it will become clear soon when the party responds as to which direction we go. But as a citizen of this country, I think I have every right to be concerned about corruption. I have every right to come and find out what the Youth League of the party are doing.
In the party's communication, they made a point that the two of you appeared, yourself and the suspended youth organizer, you appeared to have taken a contrary position to the party on this particular issue. Which petition you are following up on now?
Well, I think that it wasn't a contrary position to the party. Indeed, I think the communication says that the party hasn't stated a position. As General Secretary, I was stating a position in line with the beliefs of the party, the ideology of the party, the manifesto of the party. And I think that's what many hundreds and thousands of communicators do every single day for any political party. They comment on the basis of what the beliefs of the party. I don't think that any communicator is seeking to have a committee meeting before they comment on it. The party always have redress to come back and say what you've said is not in line with our belief. And I don't think that the party has done that yet. But, I'm willing to submit myself, and I will submit myself. But I'm here today as a citizen of this country concerned about corruption. And I'm very, very much an interested citizen, and I'm encouraged, and I'm happy with the actions of the CP Youth League.
Right, so that's the suspended General Secretary of the CPP, Ni Amakron, for speaking to my colleague Joseph Akabli today after they followed up on that petition asking for the investigations to be done on the Ford Gift saga that has been raging for quite some time now. Well, Joseph, we also know that for the registrar SHRAJ spent some time in answering some questions with the media in that interview you had with him. What issues came up in that interview?
Well, Mr. Lawrence Ben, to me, is the chief registrar at SHRAJ. Now, the main concern that we sought to find out from him was the specifics, because in terms of letters that move from the office, those letters are signed by the chief registrar. They take notice of those letters. So we wanted to find out from him when that letter left his office to the presidency. And there was one thing that he kept saying, that it's because of the nature of the investigation, they can't tell us about that. We should hold on. They'll inform us later on, and other issues like that. So that it was one issue that didn't sit well with the petitioners in this particular issue, and they found it very difficult to understand why, as the chief registrar, he couldn't inform them as to which particular date that letter was sent to the president, as to whether they've given him timeline. Because what it means is that the Youth League have to just be waiting until they are served further. They don't know when they'll be getting a response from him.
Okay, so Joseph, for the petition that the Youth League sent to SHRAJ, the SHRAJ indicates whether or not they had acknowledged receipts and had responded about the progress made. For which reason today the Youth League made it to the office to inquire?
The only progress report they've got from SHRAJ is that when they served the petition and they were informed that investigations will need to be set in motion. Aside that response, they've not heard anything again from SHRAJ. And that is why they are worried, because they want to hear something from SHRAJ. They are saying that they are citizens who have come in with a genuine aim. They don't have any hidden agenda. They just want to find out whether there's a conflict of interest. Because mind you, this is one issue that after our own Manasseh Azuya, when he came up with that investigation, it was one issue that was the talking point across the country. People talking about the fact that the president has received a fraud gift, and the president is on record to have said that he indeed received the fraud gift. Then the question people are asking now is, did that influence him? Was there a conflict of interest? Was it bribery? Those are the questions that are running around, and people want to find out as to the specifics. So SHRAJ is an administrative body, and the point that they keep making is that this is not the first time SHRAJ is investigating a certain president. So they want to find out how far the process has gone. But it's quite unfortunate they didn't get that information. They were not happy about that. So that was what took place today at the offices of SHRAJ.
Okay, so for the registrar today, clearly some explanation was given to the CPP Youth League. Did he indicate how soon the investigations will end so we get the results?
In terms of timelines, that was not stated, but then again, the point he kept on making is the fact that when in terms of SHRAJ, the administrative processes, he says that they have a way they handle each case and they attach certain importance to each case. So he's saying that this is an issue of national concern. It's an issue that SHRAJ considers crucial, and he added that the commission is committed to ensuring that they get to the bottom of this particular issue. So because of their commitment to ensuring that they fight corruption, they are going to do due diligence, because they can't sacrifice due process because some individuals have brought a petition and they are eager to get to the conclusion of this. So they have to ensure that they follow due process. They have to get, once they've sent the letter, he confirmed that indeed the letter has been sent to the president. They are expecting that in terms of their normal process, you need to respond to the letter, because it's an official complaint. Someone comes in and says that we have information to the effect that you have received a fraud gift. We believe that there may be a possible conflict of interest. So that petition has been filed. Their process is that they need to inform the respondent, in this case, the person who the allegation is being made against. Now the person needs to furnish the commission with its entire response in terms of the specific issues, whether first and foremost you receive a gift, as to whether what do you make of the allegation of conflict of interest.
So for the Youth League, much as they were dissatisfied with the responses they got from the commission today, did they indicate what they will do within this period as the investigations continue?
For one point that they kept reiterating is the fact that they have confidence in SHRAJ, and it's one thing that they didn't win their interest on. They kept on emphasizing the fact that they have confidence in SHRAJ. That is why first and foremost they brought the petition to SHRAJ. Now they expect that, despite not being entirely satisfied with what they got from SHRAJ today, they expect to hear from SHRAJ soon. And just before they left, the acting commissioner came in and informed them that SHRAJ intends to write to them to make them aware of some information that SHRAJ needs to help in its work. But then if SHRAJ also gets the response from the presidency, they will make that response available to them.
All right, thank you, Joseph Akablay, with these details you got today from SHRAJ when the CPP Youth League went to inquire to follow up on that petition they sent on the Ford gift saga involving the president and the Burkinabe contractor. We'll bring you that interview with the SHRAJ registrar after sports here on The Pulse. Stay with us.